So today I have got a very special guest with me. I'm sure you guys know him, Joe Deery from Powerful Improvements. He is the real deal, and he busts his ass every single day, whether it's building the equipment, getting the stuff set up, or out there on the job. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. How do you get so much done every single day? Like you're crushing. I was watching a video the other day, and I think you had 6 jobs scheduled for that one day. I think a lot of people are amazed at what you're able to do, what you're capable of doing. So I just kind of wanted to dive into some of the things that allow this to happen: the equipment, the processes, the marketing behind it all. Tell me how you're able to do so many jobs every single day.
It comes down to really processes. I think it's process more than equipment sometimes. You don't necessarily need to have the big gallon per minute type machines because we've been doing multiple projects a day since the 4 gallon machine. Like we started with a 2.5 gallon per minute machine. And I think there's something about coming up through the ranks and not having the big machine to start with. It teaches you like how to be more efficient with the tools that you have. Like, how can I do the best, use of my time with what I have. And starting with a 2.5 gallon per minute machine, dragging hoses around and doing your thing, you're trying to, take the least footsteps possible. Make sure you got something in each hand, both time, both ways, and not wasting any footsteps. And figuring out where the holes are in your system every season and deciding like, oh, obviously you need to have longer hoses as soon as possible. You need to have a bigger gallon per minute machine as soon as possible. You need to graduate to manual hose reels as soon as possible, and then graduate to electric hose reels as soon as possible. And then some type of remote control system to turn soap on and off. Those things make you efficient. And, you wind up with a truck like this at some point. This thing is just like insane how efficient it is.
You spoke on so many things that are so true and give guys out there that are just getting started hope. But I think you nailed it when you said process is the key, right? If you're just starting out, it's very important to have a process. It's like why McDonald's is so successful. It's not because it's the best food, clearly, but you can go to a McDonald's in Savannah, Georgia, or you can go to one in, Hong Kong, and it's going to taste exactly the same because they've got it down to a science. It is a process. The entire experience is a process. And I think
Yep.
if we, implement that same ritual, if you will, into our wash business, you're just going to see your efficiency skyrocket, which means your profitability is going to be better. And that's ultimately why we want all this. And something new that we just rolled out is a Quote IQ virtual call team. It's something that we built to help with our processes, our systems, and just basically allows us to take every single phone call so we never lose a lead again. Because as small business owners, we need to be focused on all the things that can help us grow. And if you're interested, you can call the number on the screen right now and give it a try for yourself. You'll get a text message. You'll see exactly how it works. We price this so it's attainable for everybody. We also have the founders deal. So if you get it now, you'll save. And all the info is at myquoteiq.com. And having a plan, right? Putting it in action, something as simple as having the ability to capture every lead coming into your business. It gives you that direction. It's just like when you're out on the job, right?
You got to have some type of direction when you hit the job. You can't just be doing these things willy nilly. You got to show up and assess and say, okay, this is my plan, and then operate according to the plan. You learn from that, and you get to the next project. You say, okay, well, the last plan didn't work out so good, so now I'm going to adjust my plan. But don't be adjusting mid
Remco
job
today.
and then you're scrambled.
So
Not thrilled
what does
about
it
it.
look
I'll
like
go
when
home
you
and
guys
figure it
roll
out.
up? Truck,
Too
you
cold
pull
out
up,
here,
you
too
put it in
much going
park.
on.
What is
Yeah.
Joe Deery
Try
do?
to troubleshoot the
Well,
X6
as I'm
any
pulling up
further
to the house,
today.
first thing I'm doing is looking at the property and I'm looking for that water spigot because I know the very first thing I got to do is hook up water. That's like number
Yep.
one is find water, get hooked up, get those tanks filling, and then I'm always thinking as I'm pulling up which direction I want to bring my hose around the house because I like to start at the furthest point, wrap all the way around, and then work back to the truck. So I'm literally making, one trip around the house and then one trip back to the truck, and that's it, and then reel up the hose. So I'm looking at for the most efficient place to park the truck. Where's my water spigot? As soon as the truck goes in park, we jump out, hook up water, and then we're pulling power wash hose with a gun on it, so you're not going back. Like stop these multiple trips. Like, oh, I forgot my gun. Oh, I forgot this. Like you got to get the habit of putting your gun on the end of the hose and pulling it around. And next time you come back to the truck, you're plugging in and starting up, and that's it. And working your way back to the truck. And I take the time right away too. If I know there's something sketchy or I know there's something going to be a little difficult to hit, I'm placing a ladder immediately. I like to try to stage my jobs before I start the machine so that I'm not mid job grabbing a ladder. If I know there's going to be a funky angle, just put the ladder up there. Save yourself, the aggravation of trying to do it any other way. And then, first trip around the house too, you can see if you need to do any spot treating or this heavy lichen, just get your 12-volt start, treating that lichen and melting that stuff instead of dicking around with it, wasting all this time, putting water on it, pressure, aggravating yourself. Just, and that's part of getting the right tools for the job, to make your life easier, make your life more efficient. Now I bring the 12-volt around, I hit it with some 6% at 35 feet in the air, let it hang out, and it just slides right off like jelly. And that's a matter of learning and having the right tools. And that's why we can show up and get things done, because we show up, we got the right equipment now, we get the right process, you know how to take care of the issues at hand, hit it and get out and get to the next one. We're doing 25, 30 jobs a week, 100 a month. We're at like almost 400 projects for the year already this year.
That's
And it's,
amazing.
yeah, it's
And when
crazy.
did you start? Because in Connecticut, you've got an abbreviated season because of weather.
Yeah, right. So usually it's March 1st is when I try to start.
How far out are you booked?
I'm booking right now into the second week of July.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
good.
So I mean,
And
normally I like to be booked out about 2 weeks. We're booked out over a month right now. So I'm at the point where I'm almost ready to start dishing some work off to some other people.
right. Or
Because,
yeah, make some money off some other folks.
yeah.
What about so you've got obviously a bunch of jobs, you've got the schedule booked out. What are you doing? How are you getting these jobs in? Like what's the marketing look like? Are these I'm sure a lot of repeat customers because I'm sure once they meet you, they have the experience with your company, they're going to be repeat customers, right? What are
Yeah.
you doing for your marketing?
I'd say probably my day is about three quarters past clients. I do get new calls all day long. We get, three or four leads, it seems like every day. And those come from primarily referrals from past clients. I do a lot of yard sign marketing. That's been like my big branding thing. Again, my camera's kind of reversed, but like, you see this powerful improvement logo everywhere because I put out a yard sign practically everywhere. I think I put out 300 or 400 a year.
Like you've just got the one truck on the road, right?
That's it. For me, it's the most profitable way to run my business. And it's really all I want to manage. I don't get into this to be like managing other people I know your business model is completely different. You got to, obviously you got your rhythm, you know what you're doing. You've been doing it a lot longer than I have. But I came from some middle management positions earlier in my life when I was younger, and getting into this was like I just kind of needed to get away from it and be my own boss, be my own man, and I really
Right.
enjoy going just like working by myself, working on my own schedule to some degree, but being able to pick and choose what I want to do and not have to manage anybody. Like if I'm going to go to Maine and take a break with my wife, the phone's not ringing. I don't have to take care of anybody else or babysit any other maintenance other than things I've broken on my own. So I really like the one man, one truck thing.
Right.
And it's been very profitable for me. But again, year 6 hits different than year 2 or 3,
Right.
but for a lot of reasons. But a lot of it is, we built the business. I built the business trying to create that book of business that I'm reaping the reward of now, last year and this year, of just really trying to brand myself, really making that connection with a client, really going above and beyond with the service. Trying to sell seasonal agreements, so that they're calling me back every year to do their gutters, and wash their house annually. And that is just the snowball has rolled to the point that I almost have too much to do.
And I remember we did this back, I think it was like 2021. You and I
Yes.
got on
Yeah.
and we talked, and you were just starting the your packaging with like the yearly type of deals with the gutter cleaning and kind of
Yes.
rolling it all up. And I thought that was brilliant. And I'm really glad to hear that it's, a you had the idea, you implemented it, you stuck with it because that's one of the things that so many people fail at, right? They've got a
Right.
great idea or they hear something and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this. And they don't do it, right? It's that follow through that is needed for success to put you where you're at now. Because a lot of guys, they don't make it past year 1 or year 2. And it's because they just wing it. And winging it does not make a successful business. We both know that. And you are proof of this.
You have in doing that, you wind up with too much ebb and flow. You have spikes in income, and then you have, no income. And for most of us, or at least in New England, it's seasonal. So you got 9, 10 months to work if you're lucky. If you manage to save any money the previous year to have your little egg for January and February, come March 1st, you've got like no money. You've run out of money and you're really needing to work. So if you have built the book of seasonal agreements coming into March, you know that as soon as the weather is going to break, you have 30, 40, 50 projects from selling those seasonal agreements that you have this money coming in. And it really made a big difference in the jump start in my business. So,
Yeah, and that's one of the key things is having the funds to do the things that you need to do in order to be as efficient as possible and as professional as possible. Right. One thing that I did not do early on was charge what I needed to be charging,
yep.
understanding the value that we provided. Did it hurt our business? Yes, to some degree, because we weren't able to like take that profit that we should have had and reinvest it in better equipment, in better marketing, and better branding, right? Getting the name out there, growing. Once I realized that people really value what we do, right? We're not just guys on trucks pressure washing. We are providing a value and a service that they do not want to do. They are willing to spend it and they are willing to pay our prices. Charge more than you're charging because it's going to surprise you how many people they don't balk at the price. A challenge that I always like to throw out there for people is, raise your prices this week by $100. If you're going to quote $400 on a job, quote $500 and see what happens. And guess what happens? You're going to get a lot more jobs and you're going to
Yeah.
get better customers as a result.
Having your prices high from the very beginning, or definitely not coming in as the lowest priced guy, is going to allow you to grow because you're going to need the money for the equipment. You're going to need the money for things that are unexpected. You want money for marketing. You need to be charging, bigger numbers right away. One of the most important tools to your business, even beyond all the other things that are on your truck, is you need to have a CRM. You really do need to have a CRM. You really do need someplace to keep that data of your client. You need to be able to market to that client. You need to be able to put their name in real quick, see where they were last time you worked for them, keep that database of pictures of their properties. I really like using text. If you were to call me today, say, "Hey Joe, I need a quote on house washing," I say, "Listen, I tell new clients to text me a picture of the front and rear of your home, along with your name and your address and the services you're requesting, and I'm going to get you a quote right away." Very rarely do I get burned on anything. Like, very rarely do I show up and something is like bizarre or is 3 times the size I expected. It's happened to me only a few times per season. And when that does happen, I just eat it and do the job.
And if you are pricing in a way that you've got a lot of margin built in, then every once in a while, if a job does happen that
Yep.
you didn't account for, you're covered. And how many jobs? I mean, how many gutter jobs? Like this happens to us all the time. I quote it worst case
Oh,
scenario.
God. Yes.
Right? And you
Yes.
get up there and it takes 10 minutes and you were quoting it based on doing everything and it being completely packed. These are the ebbs and the flows as far as the quoting and the pricing goes, where there is some room for error, right? And
Right.
if you
It averages out,
right,
exactly. Every once in a while, you're usually hitting home runs. It's very rare that you hit a foul or strike out. Usually you're just up there slamming home runs.
you've done all the right things to position yourself in a manner which everything is working right it's moving in the right direction and that's an impressive feat because a lot of people they struggle getting leads, they struggle with getting the phone ringing, getting people to visit the website, but you kind of nailed the basics of what you need to do. You need to build the foundation, you need to have the groundwork, and you've done that, and you've got 200 plus reviews, almost 300 reviews. That's huge. That's one of the things that we built into Quote IQ. It's called the review multiplier and it's free.
Yeah.
And you were talking about the need for a CRM, and you know my whole business very much like yours with the text and the pictures, and it's you don't have to go to the property to generate an estimate. And my whole business model, whether it was when I had 6 7 trucks on the road or two, it's always been the same, and it's been a remote quoting operation. Right, I don't have time to go and look at every single property. There's no way that you could go and look
Oh,
at every single
no
property.
way.
It
No
would be
way. Yeah.
impossible. And
Impossible.
so, and that's exactly what we've done with Quote IQ. We built this for guys like you, for guys like me, for the guys that are watching us right now that are out there, they're working hard, but a lot of them, they need help with the organization of the business, right? They need help tracking customers, sending quotes, sending invoices, getting paid fast because we need that. We need that cash flow in our business, right? And then obviously being able to track all the data, keep up with all the customers, have all their information, the pictures of the property, the pricing and services you've done in the past, everything that you've been talking about today, the important things that so many guys don't do that are needed in order to get where you're at. And just like you were saying, if you don't answer the phone, they're calling somebody else. If you don't send a quick quote, they're going somewhere else. They're going to call your competition. Look, I've had an answering service for like 10 years because I can't answer every single call, just like I can't go to every property to give a quote. But answering services are ridiculously expensive. And a lot of guys that need them don't do them because of that, right? Because these companies, they crush you with overage fees, high monthly fees, whatever the case is. And I wanted to change that. And that's why we came up with the Quote IQ virtual call team. It's brand new, it's AI driven, it answers the phone, it sounds human, it gets all the customers' information, and then it texts you or emails you. You can also get it in the app, the information, and you can listen to the conversation. And then you call the people back almost instantly. It doesn't matter where you are, if you're up on a roof, if you're on the back of the house washing, the AI call team is answering, getting the information, basically just buying you time until you can get back to them with the quote, right? And it's super cheap. It's only $99 a month, but you'll never miss a call again. They're not going to call your competition. It's a no brainer and it's going to help your business grow, right?
Yeah, you need to answer the phone. I mean, that's sales 101. Like I
Right.
worked in the mortgage business for like 15 years before I got into this, and I learned so much about sales working a mortgage because it was so competitive
Right.
2006, 2008.
Oh,
Like if you didn't answer the phone, you lost the deal. In mortgage, we'd be like, "Yeah, I can get you pre-qualified. I need your W-2s, I need your pay stubs, I need your bank statements." And you're trying to get all these things from them right away, so they're, invested with you. And then it's
right.
like, well, I'm not going
And
to send all that crap to the next guy.
right.
I'm going to wait till I hear from this guy. So at least
Yeah.
if you can connect with them and say, hey, I'm going to help you out. I need you to do these things for me. Not only does it buy you a little time while you're up on the roof doing your thing, answering your phone, it gets some skin in the game for them and gets them invested in the process with you. And they're less likely to call the next person.
Absolutely. And it's just that it's that little bit of touch that it makes it sticky. Just like you said, getting the W-2, getting all, so, back 2006, 2007, you could get them those subprime loans super, super fast.
Yeah, that particular career for me was never who I was. Like I got into that because it was feeding my family and we were
Right.
able to, live a comfortable lifestyle, and it gave me a lot of flexibility. So it was a good lifestyle. But that the very first opportunity I got to go try something else, I opened Powerful Improvements because I didn't know if what I was going to do. That's why it's improvements. It's not, Joe's Power Washing or something. Like I was maybe going to do painting or some other type of service. And power washing kind of just caught. I bought a power washer and from Home Depot for 250 bucks, and it just caught, thankfully. And
Yeah. You'd said earlier, you look back at these jobs that you had quoted years ago for some of your first customers, and now it takes you like, a fraction of the time to complete those jobs. What is it? Is it experience? Is it equipment? Is it a combination of both?
I think it's a combination of all those things. Definitely equipment's a big factor. Having electric hose reels just makes life easier. Hose management on the job is a really big thing. I got a friend of mine who's a black belt, and he says to me all the time that slower is faster. Sometimes taking a minute and thinking things through about what's your next move before you're just like yanking on things and making the move, and causing yourself more problems. But trying to think about what you're doing and make your moves a little more efficient definitely makes a big difference. Having some type of remote control system to turn your soap on and off makes a huge difference. We didn't have that first season. A lot of running back and forth to the truck. All of those things make huge differences in your time on the job. And then, like I said, trying to think ahead, like, placing a ladder. If you know it's going to be a difficult thing, don't spend all day trying to do it. And, you can't get sauce. You spend all this time, put your ladder up.
I wanted to talk about like what are your goals? Obviously, you and I are right around the same age. I think you got me by a couple of years. I've had my pressure washing business for going on 22 years now, and it's had its ups, it's had its downs. I'm at
Yes.
a point now, kind of like you. I mean, we've always been very lean and mean. Even when I had multiple trucks, back in 2008, 2009, I had like 8 trucks on the road, and it was a lot. It was a lot to manage. At this point in my life, I had I had a crazy health scare a couple years ago where
Yeah.
that just kind of put things into perspective for me, and I downsized because I didn't need the added stress. I didn't need all the excess. Employees are a lot, multiple trucks and equipment. Things are always going bad, and I was finding myself just getting sucked in, and my time wasted, and not wasted because, but I learned that I can charge more, I can do less, and it's kind of a nice little balance there. And I guess my question is though goals, right? Like I remember watching this truck behind you, that beautiful beast, getting built. I watched you build it, and it was awesome to see that, and to see what it is now, because it is the epitome of efficiency and productivity and profitability, right? You've done everything there, just efficient, and it's there, and you've got the right equipment on there to get the job done. What are your big goals moving forward for your business?
I want to try to find a little more balance in my business. Like I've been just like working like a madman, like to get where I am now, one man, one truck, you know how it is, running your own business, doing your own thing. Like I'm on all the time. It feels like everything I do is related to this business, which is not necessarily a good thing or where I ultimately want to be. I think I've got, enough of a database now. I've built a big enough book of business that I can kind of sit back and relax a little bit. I think there's just so much you can do with my particular business model with one man, one truck. Like, I'm not only am I limited by the amount of months I can work per year, but daylight hours or how much you actually want to work. I currently take every Friday and Saturday off. I only work 5 days a week, but we're doing, like I say, 5, 6 jobs a day, so 25, 30 a week. um, I think last year I did almost 650 projects for the year. I think we're going to be the same place roughly this year, and I really think that's all I can do. Like, I don't even want to do that. I kind of want to dumb it down a little bit. Like you're saying, I need to start charging more money per project so I can do maybe a few less projects per day and try to find some sweet spot around the 500 or so projects
Right.
annually. It's still hitting the income target that I want to make. If you can make, you know, obviously we're making more than six figures, but if you can make, double, triple that, that's really, really where you want to be with one man, one truck.
Right. And I know
And
that you've got
I don't think you can do much more than that, honestly, without expanding. You got to bring in another
right.
truck, another crew. So.
Yeah. And on occasion you do have some help, right? I know your son worked with you.
do.
Your
I
daughter
do.
is
Yeah, in the summertime, I like to bring in a helper. It's usually one of my very good friends, like Tony. You guys have seen Tony; he's a great guy. I've
right.
known Tony since like kindergarten. You know, but it's usually one of my children I bring in, which is one of the reasons that I kind of wanted to build this business was giving them some opportunities, and they get to make some money. We get to spend time together, which is huge, and make those few memories. But where that goes over the next couple years, like those kids are going to age out for me. And I remember like my first season bringing Patrick out when I was ex-jetting. He was like 13 years old. He's 18. He's out here washing his Toyota right now. If you might have heard him pull in, he's got the loud exhaust on his little Toyota truck. But he's out there, so I would bring him with me and I would be putting, bleach, mixing it 50-50 or whatever in a 5 gallon bucket and having him hold the drop stick, and then I replaced him with a zip tie. I was like, you lost your jet because I figured out the zip tie it on there, and then we figured, So I mean, the process has gone along where I don't need a helper. I bring my kids out because I want to. Like
Right.
I don't plan my day needing them. I've planned all the equipment on my rig and my process is not to have a helper. It's literally I can do everything by myself or I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
um, buying drones, buying Skyvacs, doing all these things to keep me off the ladder, electric reels so I'm not killing myself, remote controls to save my footsteps, all these
Right.
things we've done so that I can, hopefully do this for another 5 or 10 years.
Right. No, I love it, man. And again, I enjoy watching your channel. And if anybody doesn't know who this guy is, it's Joe Deery. Powerful Improvements. Check him out. Go subscribe. And Joe, to close this out, if you would, any words of advice that you have for anybody watching that is looking to get into it or looking to kind of get to where you are, let's hear what you have to say.
Oh, you got to be all in. You got to be 100% all in. If you're gonna find success with anything you're gonna do, I don't care what it is, you've got to be completely about it, and just dig in all the way because you're not gonna get anywhere doing it, half-ass or part-time. If you're gonna quit your job, and commit, and that will definitely light a fire under your butt. So.
Well, I love it, man. And again, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. And that's it.